Hey, what's up, everyone? It's Chase, aka That Gay Jedi, and welcome to another video, or if you're new here, welcome to the channel. Today is another episode of Force Connecting, in which I connect with other queer Star Wars fans and artists and talk about their contribution to the fandom. Today, I'm talking with one of my personal favorites, Ashley Guillory, about her journey with Star Wars, queerness, and her ship, DINLUKE. Enjoy.
Hi.
Hi, how's it going?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. I'm good. Before we get into anything, I have to know, are you wearing the Luke Skywalker shoes?
No, I have them here. I have
Okay.
them right.
Okay.
I have them right here because I was like, I'm obsessed with these shoes, and I was like, I will not. I don't know.
We need to wait. Can we see the sole?
Yes. Well, you can kind of see the sole. Like, he's in there.
He's
like
in
this half,
there.
yeah, he's in there, and then this other half is just the grating on the stairs. I think my favorite
Those things
thing
are
is
awesome.
the shoelaces are the best part, though, because
What's
they
on the
say
shoelaces?
they say "May the Force be with you," like on the shoelace part. Yeah,
That's awesome. Those are cool. When did those come out?
a couple of seasons ago. I want to say maybe the fall or
Those are
winter.
awesome.
So you can buy them resale on a
Yeah.
sneakerhead store.
That's
Okay.
smart. Very smart. I love it. Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. So I thank you for being here first and foremost. I'm
Thank you for
so
having me.
excited to dig into this because we'll get into it a little bit later, but I got familiar with your work through your My Luke Skywalker is Gay comic, which is incredible. And we'll get into that later. But I would love to start at the very beginning and sort of talk about your introduction to Star Wars and how that's sort of evolved over the years. You're just fandom of Star Wars.
Yes. It started very young. I feel like most people were introduced to it by their dad, and that was also me. I was 5 or 6, or maybe even younger than that. And I just remember there were certain parts we weren't allowed to watch, like on Hoth with a lot until was hand over the eyes. Like, don't look,
Right.
the Wampa is too scary for you.
Yeah.
Until I was like in my late teens, I was like, wait, is the Wampa? Can I? Anyway. So, yeah.
He is kind of, I get it. He's pretty scary.
Yeah. And I think it's also like the dismemberment is pretty gory for,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Awesome. So have you been like a steady fan for your whole life, or has it kind of gone in and out?
Yes, I would say there was a heavy Star Wars influence because I was 8 or 9 when the prequels came out, and we went hard into the prequels because my father had like every toy from the original trilogy. So we had like every toy because they made so much merchandise for those series.
Much merch. Yeah.
Yeah. We have like to this day, my brother and I, they had this like the communicators that Qui-Gon Jinn and the other Jedi
no
used.
way.
Yeah, they had like a little, but it read card chips, and then the chips would talk to each other, and it would be movie dialogue, but the dialogue wasn't. It was very cool. You probably would love that if you you can find them all over on eBay because I have looked. And my brother and I will still quote the trilogy, the prequels to each other from the chips. So
that is so cute.
it's pretty funny. There was a lull, I think, and then I, went pretty hard for the when The Force Awakens came out. I did start doing Star Wars fan art again, so that was, like a reawakening.
That's awesome.
Which is appropriate, I guess, given the title of the movie.
Absolutely. I was going to ask if well, maybe it's controversial, but was your dad a fan of the prequels or not so much?
No, I think he likes them. He just likes Star Wars. So we went multiple times in the theaters.
Well, and it must have been nice. Yeah. And it must have been, I mean, I'm a prequels baby, so I like ride or die for the prequels. But it also must have been nice for your dad to be able to like watch the prequels sort of through his kids' eyes in a way. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And kind of, yeah.
Because there is that, like he went. And also, I should say, my mother is also a huge fan of Star Wars. She was in the Mark Hamill fan club. So, Yeah.
That's awesome.
She has an autograph photo somewhere, but
Oh,
he went multiple times to the theaters because they didn't have home video back then. So he was excited to have us watch Star Wars the way that he first saw Star Wars.
yeah.
Big.
That's so cool. Awesome. So can you remember a moment where your queerness and that love of Star Wars intersected? Like, was that a sort of a conscious coming together, or were they kind of separate journeys, I guess?
I think they were very separate journeys. I don't know that I never saw queerness in Star Wars as a very deeply closeted kid until
Yeah.
The Force Awakens when Finn Poe showed up, and I was like, oh, hello,
Yep. Yep.
homosexuals.
Absolutely.
So yeah, that was definitely, I think I was in college when that movie came out. So it was like, when you go away and you're away from your family and you're like, I've been gay this whole time, and you can finally be yourself.
Yes. Amazing. Amazing. So since then, since sort of you started seeing a lot more queerness in Star Wars, how has your experience of the Star Wars fandom evolved?
It's been interesting because I haven't ever been in the fandom, I would say, as a huge fan with, a collection of Star Wars stuff. I had never, outside of dipping my toe into the Force Awakens era fandom, this is the first time I've ever like interacted with it on a deeper level. And some parts of it are great. I like there's like cute little pockets of it that are
Mhm.
just safe spaces, but Twitter has been an interesting experience in, hearing from fans that we don't exactly see eye to eye on a lot of stuff. So I just try not to interact with that part of it. So it's been a really interesting dichotomy of feeling like warm, embraced, loved, and just like loving the space and loving the people, because there are so many lesbians in Star Wars
Yes.
fandom.
Yeah.
And then having the other part of it, which, the good definitely outweighs the bad. So
Yeah. I would agree. I would agree for sure. The good pockets are extremely good. They're amazing.
yes.
So when did you start creating fan art, and when did your fan art come to be as an expression of your fandom?
I started drawing Star Wars super, super early, like when I
Oh,
was 5 or 6. I think there's a panel in the My Luke is Gay comic that alludes to that fan art. I need to
yes.
find it. It's
Yes.
in one of my very first sketchbooks, so I need to go back. But I wasn't until recently that the queerness and the Star Wars started overlapping. I did draw like OT3-ish Ray Finn Poe art when that film came out, but it wasn't until the Mandalorian series came out that I really started going really hard for Star Wars fan art again. And it was so natural. It's like I'd never been away. It was
I
really
love
nice.
that. That's great. That's really cool. Do you have any of like your old drawings from when you first started making just drawing Star Wars things when you were a kid?
I do. I have a storage unit up where my parents live, and there are dozens of sketchbooks, and I
That's so
cannot
cool.
wait to go back and just flip through them, because I know that the sketchbook is red. I know that Leia's literally page number 1, because like big red lipstick, even though I don't know that,
Yes.
you know, and then Vader is page 2. So
That's
I
amazing.
thank you. 6-year-old me would be very pleased.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it shows how much it means to you, that the fact that you can remember it so clearly, which is awesome.
Yes, I do. I feel like fan art is it feels more impactful than anything else I drew when I was younger, because it's just a lot of like original characters that are varying degrees of animals with wings,
Yeah.
because we all went through that phase. So, you know.
Absolutely. So where do you currently, so I know you mentioned Mandalorian, which we're gonna get all into Mandalorian, because that is like, I think one of yours and I's common denominators, we'll say. So
Yes.
but aside from the Mandalorian, where do you find inspiration for creating your fan art?
So much of it is the other fan artists in the fandom,
Mm.
like Rebecca Pencil Scratchins. Her fan art is phenomenal. If you haven't downloaded her comic that she made about the Clone Wars era, I'll link you. It's amazing. And so, what I have really enjoyed about this particular fandom that I haven't had from a fandom in a long time, my last huge fandom that I was in was One Direction. I was in the old guard fandom, but One Direction was like
Yeah.
my big, and we had such a collaborative community where like
Mm.
someone would draw something and then it would inspire you and you'd reblog it with your art on it. And so it became like a chain of
Ooh.
reaction images that are all art. And so the part of the Star Wars fandom I'm in now has that. And it's so amazing. I love Ngozi, who draws Check Please,
Mm.
the hockey comic, which she has a Kickstarter going right now for the last book of that, but she is hilarious and her fan art is amazing, and we have quipped a few times and every time it's just like, oh, this is the best feeling. And it's also with the ship, I project a lot onto them, which I will come by honestly. So I'm like, this is just me and my girlfriend if we were, space
Yeah.
adventurers with a son.
I
So
love it. Oh, I love it. That was honestly one of the first things, like when I got more connected to fandom in quarantine, and I really
yeah,
started digesting a lot more fan art because I sort of got I stand fan artists like so hard. Fan art is just one of my favorite things in the world. I will go
yes.
like I will just look at it for hours. But one thing that I really noticed about the fan art community in Star Wars is how supportive y'all are of each other. And
Yeah.
it's just cool. Even like as someone who's not necessarily creating fan art, just watching those interactions happen is so warming. It's so cool. So it's cool that you also get inspiration from each other too, and it makes sense.
Yes. We love each other. It's just an all love situation in the Star Wars corner.
I love it. I love it. Okay, great. So, speaking of fan art, I would love to talk
Yes.
about your My Luke Skywalker is Gay comic because
Yes.
that well, it's actually the second piece of yours I saw, but the first piece of yours I saw, I didn't know it was you. The first piece I
Oh,
saw of yours was it was Din and Luke at Disneyland.
yes.
And I saw that and it was so funny because I was obsessed with it, but I didn't put it together that it was you. And so once I found out that that was you, I was like, I loved it even more. But the first piece that I saw and I really was like, oh my God, Ashley Guillory. I was like, this is it.
Yeah.
Was the My Luke Skywalker is Gay comic. And it made me cry. It's such a gorgeous,
Oh,
gorgeous comic. And like I was reading it again before this and
yeah.
I could read it every day and not get tired of it.
Oh,
I really love this comic, and I'll put panels of it in this so other people can see it. But I'll link the whole thing down below so everyone can look at it because it's seriously breathtaking. So do you want to talk a little bit about that comic and the journey behind it?
yes. Yes. That comic really feels like the culmination of years. I think that I couldn't have done it without like the time to reflect during quarantine. So that's one positive about quarantine for myself. But I feel like in the beginning of August last year, I sort of had a moment where I was like, "Oh, I'm a lesbian." And I don't know why. I like finally became comfortable with myself as a lesbian because it's been something I've been really fighting with my
Right.
whole life. And so that was like the first step to the comic, was that like moment of,
Mm.
okay, this is how I'm going to be for the rest of my life and I just got to be happy with that.
Yeah.
And then it culminated in what was like January, because I'm trying to get the timeline right with the last episode of The Mandalorian
Right.
because I saw that and then I can't, I wish I could remember what it was that clued me into DINLUKE.
Mhm.
Um, because I feel like I just found this fan fiction. It's like 80,000 words, and the author, as I said in the comic, wrote it back before the season had even aired. And so it just made so much sense. And so that sort of was the catalyst for going back and rewatching the old movies and like realizing finally that I could love Star Wars without my father. And so I sketched it all in my sketchbook, and it looks like absolute trash. It's just like really basic sketches. And then it was 24-hour comic day. And that felt like the perfect opportunity to finally get it down, because comics take me a really long time to make. And well, not a really long time, but I know that they're laborious for me because I have a process. And so this felt like a good opportunity to just try to get it out, to just like get it out all at once. And I needed that push to, because I would say that the first 6 pages were very concretely straight from my sketchbook, verbatim what I wrote. But then something happened around page 7 where I was like, oh, this is like off the cuff, on the fly, just like creative outpouring. So it's just a lot of bottled up Star Wars feelings inside of me. Sorry.
No, don't be sorry at all. It's incredible. Did you, when that started coming out, what did it feel? Did it have a healing impact on yourself? Like, did it have sort of like an emotional purge and healing aspect?
Absolutely. There was something about, I don't like, meaning the page where it's like Luke is, or Vader is labeled as my father, and Kenobi is like any hope of our relationship being reconnected. Like just that double, those panels, I was like, oh, this makes so much sense to me now. I don't know what it was, but it was an aha moment, which I don't have often in my art, but it felt really nice. So yeah.
It sounds like it was all just sort of like, what's the word? Like serendipitous, like at the timing of everything. And it just, the flow was there, which is incredible. I mean, I can only imagine like the relief that must feel just as an artist to be able to get into flow and just let it all happen.
Yes. It was so interesting because it was one of those times where you're making something you like forget to eat because you're just so caught up in what you're doing. So.
That's the best. Yeah. One of the panels that hits me the hardest as someone who struggled with their queerness for a very long time was the one of like the shot of like the 2 versions of you on Mustafar. And you just sort of like screaming at yourself and realizing, you know what, like I can walk away from this, like, you know, burning half version, like self-loathing version of myself. And I can walk away and I don't need to like feel that anymore. That sort of like self-hatred in a way. It's such a powerful part of the comic. And again, one that I completely relate to. And it was such a beautiful way to represent that journey. It was like such a simple image and like just like 2 lines of dialogue, but so much weight and so much like, I don't know. I love it. I'm a huge fan. Thank
you.
Yeah.
You're gonna make me cry.
Well, tears are welcome here. Seriously, tears are welcome. I'm all about it. Like I said, that comic, every time I read it, I get misty eyed. It's gorgeous.
It's really sweet.
Yeah. And I was gonna say too that Mark Hamill talking about Luke Skywalker being gay is, when did that come into the picture? Had you like always known that Mark Hamill had said that, or did that kind of come around? Did that interview, like, did you hear him say that like later on?
I had seen, I swear the GIF set on Tumblr has been around since he said it in like 2016 or whenever that was. But I had seen it, but I don't know. I think because at that point I still hadn't rewatched the movies, and I was like, oh yeah, people calling Luke gay. And I know that the Chanel boots thing was a meme because obviously. Right. But it wasn't until I like rewatched them and I was like, oh no, he is gay.
Yes.
Like, he is gay. That's why people keep asking Mark Hamill if he is, because he is. So yeah, I had definitely, I don't know. It was really funny because I think it was my brother finally sending it to me, because he sent me that interview and then I wrote the draft. Like, he sent it to me on Reddit because he's not on Tumblr, and I was like, oh, and then I wrote the comic. So
it's kind of sounds like, and like, let me know if this isn't true, but it kind of sounds like like your perception of Luke's queerness, and in a way, like Luke Skywalker coming out to you as queer was in parallel with your own coming to terms with your own sexuality.
Yes, absolutely.
Which is just like, that's I mean, that's awesome. And what like Luke is just like an awesome ally to like have, you know, in that journey.
Yes. He's very capable.
Yeah.
He's a highly capable sir. Yeah.
It's a good word for it.
Well, it's very sexy, which we'll talk about when we get to the ship.
When we get to the ship, yes.
But it's nice though, because I feel like this is a very controversial hot take about Luke, but he changes so much. That's not the controversial part from A New Hope to Return of the Jedi. But I feel like Return of the Jedi is just his, like, it's his gayest movie, and it's also his most lesbian. I don't know how to explain that, but it makes sense to me, where he's just like, he's confident, he's there, he just knows everything that's going on, and like at no point in Jabba's palace are you ever like, is he not gonna make it out? I am concerned, because the whole time he's just like, whatever, R2, where's my lightsaber?
Yeah.
You know? Just like, pick up the droids as we leave, please.
Yes, that is like the queer swagger of him in that movie is just like inspirational.
Yes. His, like, when Palpatine later, he's like, your confidence will be your downfall. I'm like, Luke.
Yeah.
The pot and the kettle, sir.
That is awesome. That's great. Okay, so speaking of Luke, I think we can start talking about our favorite ship, which to me is like, it's so funny when I start like thinking about DINLUKE as a ship, it almost feels like inappropriate to call them a ship, because I'm like, it's not even a ship. Like, they're canonically husbands, like they're space dads. Like, so absolutely. But I mean, totally my opinion, and everyone's got, you know, their own ships, but let's talk about DINLUKE, because the fan art you make for them is absolutely off the charts incredible. And I mean, there's a reason you're my first commission. I was just like, I'm so honored. It's something thank you. It's something about I don't know, but you get it. You just get it. You get both of them. And I guess we'll start the conversation by asking what your favorite relational aspect of them is. Like what between them is like just the, you know.
I'm sorry.
Or like hard. Top 3, top 2.
I think, oh God. I'm sorry. I have way too many feelings about this. I think that they just complement each other so well in like a yin yang kind of way. They're both so hyper competent at what they do, and they have, like, for having very different backstories, they're also very similar in that they, you know, grew up not knowing their parents. They're very lonely people, whether it's, you know, Luke being on a desert planet with literally no one but his boyfriend Biggs, and, you know, Mando, like, never, you know, being adopted or taken in, but, you know, still, like, they both still were raised by essentially loving families, but still can feel so lonely. So they just have such an interesting foil. Like, it's bizarre how perfect Din has been made to bring that out of Luke.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, and, you know, Din grew up underground, and he's like, underground is like, okay, I want something else. I want to be out there. And then very similar to like Luke wanting to be off the desert planet where there's nothing happening and all that. Yeah. And then also something I was thinking about, I was rewatching some of Mando the other day, and there's a lot there's always always a good choice. And there's a moment where in the season 1, episode 4, Sanctuary, he's talking with Omera and he's like sharing like all these like crappy things that have happened sort of to him. And he's like, yeah, I lost my parents. And then she's like, hey, sorry that happened. And he's just like, this is the way. And there's some sort of like emotional suppression in that. Similarly, in my opinion, to like emotional suppression in the Jedi Order, which is of course much stronger in the prequels, but you know, that similar sense of like not being attached and everything. So that was also something that I felt like Din and Luke kind of have going from them, is like this idea of like they've both been through a lot, yet they don't necessarily let themselves kind of accept that and live in the feeling of that.
Right. Well, and there's that to even add on is like Luke rebuilding the Jedi and him trying to decide whether or not emotion and attachments are things that he thinks should be, you know, now included in the Jedi Order that he's trying to form.
Right.
So there's such a good balance.
They really are. They really are. So how do you said that oftentimes in your fan art with them, you project your own relationship onto them. So what is that like? And are you more of Luke or are you more of a Din?
I am more of a Luke.
I figured.
I'm a little bit more, I'm a Sagittarius, so I'm very like, it'll be fine. Whatever happens, it'll be fine. Let's just go out there and give it our best. And then my girlfriend is a little more, she's not quiet. But she, you know, is more, I would say a little bit more reserved than I am.
Right.
And my relationship is relatively new. We've known each other for 12 years, but it wasn't until quarantine that we started dating. So yes.
Amazing.
It was a whole thing. It was delightful. I'm very happy that we're together now, but there's definitely, thank you. There is a fair amount of just like domesticity that I really like in Din and Luke, because neither of them have really had a place that they can put roots down. And so which is, you know, my girlfriend lives far away. So we constantly send each other Zoom or Zillow listings of different houses we could possibly live in in different places. So I do that with DINLUKE also. I'm like, well, where can they live? Probably on Yavin 4, but like, you know.
Love that. Yeah.
They could go to, you know, Mandalore and reestablish the Mandalorians. They could do so many things together.
A lot of things. And what better way to launch them into that life than a child, than Grogu?
Yes.
Yeah.
They're two dads just vibing in the universe.
And again, they both have that queer swagger. I mean, Din's swagger plus Luke's swagger is off the charts. It's too much. It really is.
Yes. Din is so I think that is why he's so sexy, is that he's so confident. I mean, it's not even like, you know, boastful. It's just like, yes, I can kill this giant sand dragon, no problem.
I'll fly right into its mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it'll be fine. Yeah. Did you want to show any of the things that you have up there? You said you had some things.
I do. Well,
amazing.
I have a Din and a Luke. I purchased them so they could, one day when I've moved into a bigger house with my girlfriend, they're going to sit on a shelf and hold hands.
I love that. I love that. That's a perfect vision.
And I want everyone to know that the USPS made droid stamps. So go out.
Yes. Those are so cool.
I'm obsessed with them. I wore my R2-D2 mask to pick them up.
It was a full thing. I love that.
Yeah. Well, the funniest thing was she didn't see my mask, but I was wearing this shirt and she was like, the droid stamps are out today. And I was like, yes, they are.
She knew exactly what you're there for. Yes. That is so good. Amazing.
This is the last thing. This is my brother's. He left it in my car in like 2006 and I never gave it back to him.
What? Is it just like a statue? I love that.
No, it's a stormtrooper like action figure. It's a sand trooper.
Oh,
So
that thing's
yeah.
awesome. I like how like big it is. It's like cool and like just
Yes.
big and chunky. I love that.
I don't even know where he got this. I have no idea where it came from. It's the only dark side related paraphernalia I allow in my home.
And you adorn it with some Mardi Gras beads.
Yes, because he's gay.
I love it. Yes, everything anything I can get my hands on Star Wars wise, I'm like, yeah, gay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So was it The Mandalorian that sort of launched you back into fan art, right?
Yes, absolutely.
And then were you making sort of like strictly Din art, and then it turned into Din and Luke, or what was it about Mandalorian that sort of got your wheels turning?
I am trying to remember what the first DINLUKE fan art. It was. I think it happened at the same. I think it was at the same time, because the first piece I ever drew for either was it was a DINLUKE piece where it was Luke in his fatigues, in his training tank top with Grogu in the backpack instead of Yoda, and then the half I posted to Instagram has Din just smooching Grogu on the head, and then the one that's on my Tumblr is him smooching both of them.
Amazing.
Grogu, and then he smooches Luke. So I think that was like, and the funniest thing is I drew that and I was like, okay, it's out of my system. I don't ever have to draw that again. I can stop. And then I drew Disneyland AU, where the piece that you saw, that was literally the second thing I ever drew for them. So I dove real deep, real fast.
I love it. And
yeah,
that Disneyland piece, again, that AU piece is what turned me on to DINLUKE, because I hadn't necessarily thought of them. And then I saw them at Disneyland together. And like, as a kid born and raised in SoCal, like Disneyland was a big part of my life. And seeing them together with the merch, I was just like, this is the most like sensible thing I've ever seen. I was like, every single part of this just fits and makes so much sense. And so like, and also like, I ship like a lot of characters, and I'm a casual shipper, but with them, it's not casual. It's not casual. No. And I have your art to thank for it. It's very intense. I'm like, that's it. That's the ship. I love that.
Thank you.
Yes. No pressure.
No, it's interesting how many people have told me that I'm the reason that they ship this ship. And I was like, does that make me the captain? I would elect you as the captain of this ship proudly. Thank you.
I will co-sign.
It's so interesting to me, because regarding the casual shipping and the seriousness of it, I love DINLUKE, but I am not like opposed to Din with other people or Luke with other people. But they are, but they are definitely like, yes, this is it.
Yeah, it's like you said, it's a natural foil.
Yes, yeah. I am so excited for all of your other ship videos also, because I haven't really watched the animated series. I'm new to those. So I have been watching the Clone Wars and Rebels at the same time.
Oh, that's kind of interesting. That's a fun way to do it.
Yeah. So I'll let you know how that goes.
Please do. Please do.
Yeah.
What do you have planned for your immediate future, or what do you see going forward, like just with your own artistic expression? I know you're making pins, and I think we should talk about, we're trying to make some pins.
We can talk about that. The Kickstarter will be up when this video is posted. So I am working on 3 pins. Hopefully I've got my fingers crossed. And then right now I'm drawing more, on Tumblr, there's this phenomenon called Casual Cowboy Friday. So, which I don't know who started it, but whoever did, good job. Where everybody just draws mostly the Mandalorian and Boba Fett as cowboys hanging out, like in the Old West. And so I'm working on Old Man DINLUKE cowboys right now, which I'm really excited about.
Cute. That's cute.
I'm so excited.
Super cute. I saw one of your drawings with both of them riding horseback, and it was so cute with like Grogu in the satchel. I was just like, this is so fun, so much fun, especially because Mando has all the space Western vibes in the world. So it's such a natural fit.
Yes, it is. The people have taken to it quickly. Like the amount of Cowboy Jin fan art is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Definitely worth a check on the Tumblr tag. So
absolutely.
Yes. Just more. I'll probably draw some more old DINLUKE. Old DINLUKE is my favorite. DINLUKE.
And why is that?
I think because all I ever wanted for any of the characters in the movies was for them to have a happy ending.
Yeah.
And I think that Luke, his happy ending is non-existent. Like he never had a chance. And so I feel like Din is an opportunity to do that. And there's a lot of like fic and speculation about like how Din and Luke could just be canon. They're like, well, you know, he left and then he met the Mandalorian with Grogu and then they raised a kid and then Din died and then he moved to an island full of nuns because he lost the love of his life, which
it would add to the arc. That's all I'm saying.
You know, it's just they didn't show us that part. That's, you know.
And that's what makes me nervous for Mando season 3. Like I'm so excited for it, but at the same time, I'm like, don't disrupt what's going on in here. I like it. I like it up here.
You know, I am so very good at divorcing like fandom from
good.
Because I don't, you know, I know there's so many people online speculating. They're like really worried that Din's gonna get a girlfriend. They're really worried that like Luke isn't gonna show up again. And I'm just like, there's like 3 people on the whole planet that know well, they filmed it already. So lots more people know, but it's funny. I'm in a guild, which is great. I swear this story has a point. And I was taking an online course because they help, you know, they offer continuing education type classes. And the guy who's the storyboard artist for The Mandalorian was in the Zoom call with me. And I was like, he knows.
Oh, that is... Whoa.
Yeah, it's so strange, and he's phenomenal. Such an amazing artist, and I'm so excited to see everything about it. But it is very strange to like be so close and be like, those non-disclosure agreements are serious stuff, man. So I'm not gonna ask, but like,
hard not to.
Yeah, I mean, it's just that's the best thing about working in movies is like you're a part of that. Well, he's more specifically a part of that. So I'm just gonna, you know, whatever happens in season 3.
I mean, we know it'll be good. You know what I mean? So
yeah, I mean, that's what they said. They only want to keep making it while it's good. So.
And that show is so good. It really did only get better too. And rewatching it is so fun. It's so fun rewatching it. I have to thank Force Friends Rewatch, the podcast. They're the ones who convinced me to start rewatching Mandalorian. It's an awesome podcast. Definitely listen.
Check it out.
Yeah, they rewatch like Star Wars shows, but like not years later, but a long time after. So it's fun because you get the conversations they have are so they have such a nice perspective, and so they have like such like cool like new things that like talk about in the conversation. I love that show. It's awesome.
That sounds phenomenal.
Yeah. And also one more thing about Old Man DINLUKE, I had to say, my favorite thing about seeing Old Man DINLUKE is it just has like such a sort of like grow old in love energy, like that. It's so pure. And again, like you said, like giving the characters a happy ending, because happy endings are like, they're kind of there in Star Wars, but not really, you know what I mean? So
I don't know that there are any.
I know.
Yeah.
Because no. Every time I like think of one, I'm like, oh well, no. Like it's like happy towards the end, but then it doesn't end happy.
No, I think that's why I've been struggling with watching the Clone Wars. Is really hard for me for some reason because it's just so violent all the time, and I know they're at war, and I know that's why it is the way that it is. But I'm just like, do they ever get to just stop and eat a pizza at any point? Can they just like sit down and have a chit chat about their feelings? Because this is a lot.
It is a lot. It's pretty heavy. To sort of like wrap us up, I did want to go back to Luke and sort of just queerness, because I was wondering if was Luke always a character you gravitated towards, or did that kind of come out later? When you were younger?
I didn't understand Luke at all. I didn't get him. I sort of was like, I sort of thought he wasn't for me. I don't know if that's like ingrained misogyny or just, you know, growing up as a kid and it's like, well, the princess is for you, and
Right.
then the other one is for other people, but not for you.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I wrote a little bit about it in the comic where it's just like he is very brave and I was not a brave kid. I was very shy. I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't super outgoing. I was teased a lot. I was bullied a lot, and so I was like, I don't know how to be heroic. I don't know how this guy just like I'm just gonna swing across an open chasm with a sarlacc pit with this lady. It's just like, woo! I'm like, no,
Right.
he's also super athletic, can't relate to that. And
Right.
so, you know, yeah, it wasn't until recently where I was just like, oh, I don't know, he means so much to me now. I can't possibly understand how he didn't mean anything to me before.
Yeah, it's so
So,
interesting to
yeah.
me. And
Can I ask you, was he your ride or die?
he was the hot guy who did flips for sure.
Yes.
He was the guy
He
that
is
kind of looked like
bogus.
Zac Efron to me, that was like hot with Yoda on his back for
I could
sure.
see that. I could see
Yeah.
that. It's the haircut.
Um
Yeah.
yeah, it was very that.
Yeah.
No, I think it's like I say this with self-awareness.
Yeah.
But my ride or die was definitely Anakin as a kid. But
Okay.
less
Yeah.
because he's like a baddie and more of like he was a sad boy. And I was a sad boy. You know what I mean? Like I was like the really sad boy. I was just like that. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And I saw Anakin and I saw
Yeah.
like sort of like I just like understood him and I felt like
Yeah.
he got it. You know, he got me a little bit. So he was more
Yeah.
my ride or die, but related to Luke.
Yes. That's where he gets half the drama from.
Yeah, oh,
Yeah.
absolutely.
The
Absolutely.
other half of the drama is the Padme wardrobe.
Oh, and the flare. Yeah,
Mm, yeah.
absolutely. And so now with your relationship with Luke, I'm sorry I'm
Yes.
pressing on this. I really do, I
No,
really
keep
like love to
going.
hear about it.
Yes.
So
Yes.
now with your relationship to Luke, with the perspective that you have
Yeah.
on like your relationship to him when you were younger versus your relationship now, what is it that queerness included, what do you
Yeah.
feel a kinship with Luke over? And what makes you feel that
Oh,
connection with Luke?
that's such a great question. Well, we both have a lot of daddy issues, so
Hmm.
I do think that that's a part of it. Um, he's such an interesting character because people project onto him a lot,
Hmm.
which is why they get so mad at you when you say that he is gay on the
Yeah,
internet.
exactly. Yeah.
I feel like I have moved past being that scared little kid, and now I want to be more like him, be more heroic, be more just because he leads with his feelings always.
Hmm.
When he's very insistent in Return of the Jedi that there's still good in his father, like he believes so much in goodness. And I have been trying so hard, especially during this quarantine, to believe so much in goodness because
Mm.
everything is so bad for a lot of people.
Yeah.
Um, and even as we turn a corner, hopefully a good corner at this point, I feel like, I don't know, he has so much going for him and he sacrifices so much to do the right thing. And
Hmm.
I just feel like that's such a noble, if not tragic, way to live your life.
Yeah.
I like he lives his truth. And
Yes.
that's what I want to do. Live
I
my
love
truth.
that. I love that. He, like you said, he leads with his feelings and he trusts in his feelings.
Yes.
He just trusts them. He leads with them, but he also believes in them, trusts in
Yeah.
them, and can a lot of times in a way surrender to them and just be like, it's gonna, as long as I'm like, that's his true north. And it is
Yeah.
really, really inspirational. And I just have
Yeah.
to say, it's such a, I mean, thank you so much. It's such a gorgeous sort of like parallel to see like your relationship to Luke as a shy young person, and like you said, and a closeted, so maybe a kid that wasn't aware of their sexuality or like implications of like how they felt or anything like that, and then to have you and Luke like I said, kind of going on similar journeys is a beautiful thing. And there's so much power in that. So it's really beautiful. So thank you for sharing it. It's cool to see, and it's infectious too. Like now, like I get to go watch, Star Wars and watch Luke and be like, you know what? He really does do that. And I want to sort of draw from that power too, because there's so much power in it. And I'm just stoked that both of y'all, you and Luke, are on that journey together. And it's beautiful.
We are.
You are.
We are. He's my cell phone now, like my cell phone sticker. This is
amazing. Oh, that's cool. That's rad.
Yes. She makes the best stuff. So I carry him everywhere I go, in my heart and moving forward. So thank you.
Beautiful. Awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me. It was excellent to be here.
And that wraps us up for today. Thank you so, so much, Ashley, for such an amazing conversation. I had so much fun talking with you. I could do that for a very long time. Everyone, be sure to check out her information in the description down below, and check out her Kickstarter for the amazing pins that she's designed. Also, if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and leave a comment down below. It really helps the channel. Thank you so much for watching, and may the Force be with you always.